All right, so 3-minute presentation for a defining moment for the case study. So when I worked for the Billings Airport like 4 years ago, um, the argument of time for training versus time for not training, and the resource management and the cost that it had to train doing fire and rescue things versus using manpower for other jobs on the airport, it became a fairly big pain in the side of my supervisors because I pushed to do training and was put into a training officer position. And every day we put more emphasis in training than some of the other duties because I felt that's what priority felt. So that was a challenge, almost on a regular basis with the shift. So what we did is we put the effort towards training, and we got the crews trained up to handle stuff with new techniques that the airport hadn't originally used, and started exploring options for doing effective fire and emergency services with a lack of manpower, since the airport didn't really want to give us firemen with the other jobs that the staff members did. So the consequences of doing that was I wasn't on my boss's or my supervisor's best side. Then I went on about a military leave, and in the year that I was gone, there were 3 crashes that happened on property, and all resulted in fatalities and a massive effort for the city and the airport to be able to handle those incidences. And in the big picture, the training that we put forth and the extra time and effort we put into the emergency service operations and management for incidents like that paid off in the long run. Unfortunately, I wasn't on shift to experience that with the crews, but when I got word of what had happened and how things were executed, it showed that the training and the time that we had put forth paid off in the long run. Unfortunately, there were fatalities on all the incidences, but it was mitigated the best that they could for what they had. And multiple times was referenced to the training we did prior. How that experience influenced me as a leader, that even if the people above you or your supervisors aren't in support of what you're doing, at least in emergency services, the money's always trying to go somewhere else. So just stick to your guns, and if you think what you're doing has a place at the table and a priority and what needs to get done, then put your effort into it. You may not always make friends with it, and your supervisors may not always be on your side with it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to something like fire and EMS, the time you put in, you're going to have to use. So if you train hard, it'll make the situation easier than if you don't train, and then when that situation shows up, you're caught off guard. So that really put the foundation in me that even though I may be irritating people or may not be on the best relations with people above me, if it's their job to make sure we have the stuff we need to get our job done, then push for that. So that's really been a defining moment in my communication and leadership development. So